Welcome again, folks, my people. This is the Token Edge here. You can head over to my other channel, SimZim, the Dark Lineal. Just search for that in the link. But yeah, welcome back. Today I'm going to be kind of going through something a friend of mine pointed out to me, and this was something to do with basically simple tracing around scanned pencil work on a computer, and it's such a basic thing that some people find hard to sort of do. And I kind of discussed with him. I said, well, really? I thought this was something that he was able to do, but no, he actually said that would be beneficial if he was to actually see the actual techniques that are to be done, because he's just now getting into art and design, and obviously the computer. He's just bought himself an iPod, and he's using a lot of the tools there, and I think he's got an art program there. And he always kind of has been frustrated in terms of, how do I actually have precise images? How would I be able to sort of produce the characters that I would like to have, sort of thing? And that's what, yeah, I suppose for the best part of it, you would have to sort of I mean, that's what I do. I scan. Yeah, I scan a lot of my work. I, in order to sort of get the work and the look I need for anyone, it's simple as you just have to scan the images, which are here. So this is an example of obviously something that I'm going to show you in a second. So obviously this is some works I've been doing, a project I'm doing secretly, but I'm going to keep that to myself. You'll get some notification in due time about that. And yeah, so that's how it goes. So let me start by saying, yeah, you draw, you scan, for example, draw the image, you scan it, go to a printer, they'll scan it for you, and then obviously once you have it in scan, then obviously you put it onto the screen, you upload it, and then of course if you've got your iPods, then yeah, if you don't have for example a USB stick, which I usually find very useful, obviously what they can normally do is, from any printer or any place, they would obviously send you the image via email, so at least you've got it on your computer or on your iPod or wherever, and then you can upload it, and then obviously upload it onto your, have it them save it as I always go for JPEG as such, but JPEG or PDF over the two sort of things, so that when you obviously bring up, you're able, well, PDF is easy to transfer over, so yeah, so when you bring it up, you can then start your works. So right, so as I'm about to show you, this is an example of what I did before. So that was let me just go back to this character. Yeah, so this of the scanned characters I've got, so let me zoom out. It's always hard to adjust these things, but yeah, this is the pleasures, this is the struggles when you're doing something independently. But yeah, so basically let me just zoom out so you can actually see the scope of it. Okay, so right, so this was the scanned image that I actually had, so as you can see, and when you're getting it scanned, get them to obviously scan it to the highest dots per inch at least, or the highest resolution, if it's, especially on a pencil. That's one thing to note. If you are scanning on a pencil, make sure you use a very dark leaded pencil, because obviously the lighter you got it, you will barely see any, it'd be very hard for you to pick up the lines. If you've got good eyesight, then obviously that's good for you, but if you want to obviously have the best, the best detail, then normally it's better to use a hard leaded pencil as such. You can obviously pen, if you're comfortable to use pen, you can use. Again, obviously when you're digitizing the image, obviously just making sure that the lines are going according to how you see fit. So right, So yeah, so that's the scanned image, and I've just finished a character here, and you know, so yeah, and yeah, very integral. I mean, again, the good thing about it is that you see the pencil work is a guideline sort of thing, so you be able to produce the style and the high toned character look that you want to, and it works pretty well. It stands off pretty well. I mean, I think over the course of time, I always say, start off with a practice, maybe sheet, and develop it. That's all I do say. Just keep experimenting. There's no exact precise way to sort of do these things. You can only just jump in and see what happens. And believe me, sometimes you come up with something that you'd be surprised. So right now, let's say I'm gonna do work on this character right here. So that's my image. Obviously, I've scanned up. So if you go to the toolbar and I select the pen tool. Now again, you've got other functions as well. You've got add on anchor, delete, but you want to use the pen tool. It is for what you're gonna do. Some people may, for example, may have something like this, where you can actually work on the screen with, yeah? So if you got a pen tool, so for example, let's just say, so I've selected pen, yep, I've selected the pen tool. I go, say for example, let me just highlight there. Say for example, I hire a point, okay, let's just make a point, like you can see closely there. Position the dots. You see a blue dot highlight on the that's my auntie there in the background if you hear. So so yeah, so you highlight a point and then you highlight another point, you press, and then for example, if you want to add a curve, you then curve it, you then hold down on the pen, you let go, and then it comes off. Simple as that. And if you want to obviously start another point of course, you then click onto that tool. Oh, hang on, mistake. I mean, Apple Z it, and then you go to another point, curve, and that's so. You click, drag, and highlight. Now, the reason being is, as you can see the three dots here. Basically, what that does is it adds a more of a curvature. So, for example, if I didn't, for example, press onto the middle of the blue dots, and if I, for example, carried on, all it does is it curves, it acts as an anchor. So it steers the trajectory of your pen around, so you get a curved feel. But say for example, if you didn't want that, as done before, you press and then you go to another point and then done. So yeah, you imagine you keep carrying on with that, and again, that's where you got your color tool points here, where you can select which color you want. So say you wanted it red, obviously making sure you have it highlighted on the either if you want the actual color overall shape to be colored, or whether you want this stroke to be in another color. So it gives you the option. So let's say I choose like a blue. You can see if I click away, when you click away, obviously go to the arrow tool there, that's your format, and then as you can see there, it's a very simple thing. I mean, it really is simple. I mean, it's hopefully I've made it as simplistic as I can, you know, because the way I learned from this was when I was back in secondary school in Trinity, when I was a private school, and I remember the basics of Photoshop and Illustrator, and it for me, just using those tools, especially the Hour 2, was a nightmare. I didn't know what to do, but it was just through practice and yeah, just to develop it. And the programs, which ones was it? It was Adobe 6 or something like that. It was one of the very early ones. It was like, do you remember the Apple computers where you had the big monitor screens? Yeah, we're going back now, sort of thing. So yeah, that's another story entirely. So, but yeah, so that's that. So let me just delete that. So okay, let's say we're going back onto this character here as we're doing. So again, if I just highlight the color tone, because I want to just do the outline, I don't want to color it in yet. I'm gonna highlight the empty tool, which obviously allows me just to produce the line drawing without adding any color as yet. And then again, I don't want the stroke to be red, I want it to be black. So that being said, do I need to scale? Yeah, let me just enlarge it a little bit. So right, so again, we start from the point here, and then we go from, let's say I do the ear there. Oh, somehow it's done into white, so let me just put empty. So and again, the more precise you have your pencil work, the more you can actually develop and bring out the character in itself. So I'm just going to do the ear. So a lot of times, a lot of the artists, what they tend to do, they'll do a whole lot of pencil work and then they port it in and then they develop it. Again, if they wanted to, I could use this pen tool if I wanted to, highlight it and draw it accordingly, like you saw when I was working on the Wacom tablet. And again, you'll get almost like a different feel. I feel, one thing I've noticed is that when you're working on, say for example, the pen tool, you have more of an organic feel, because the pen is like the pencil. So when you're flowing and when you're drawing out, it's never gonna be exactly straight or round, which adds to its fluidity and makes it more ornate and more real. Why for some times I mostly go onto the Hour 2, for example, is because I like to get that almost precise feel. So it's able to, I'm able to anchor the style, the shape, the curves more accurately than I would if I was doing my hand drawing it freehand. That's one of the advantages of obviously working, when we're working with the Hour tool and the paints. Plus, I always like to use my mouse. So, oh, and just to note, this is an old Mac Pro computer. This is yeah, which isn't it? It's about this Mac. It's that one, OS X. So this one I need to really update this one. So maybe towards the end of the year, if I'm fortunate, if I'm lucky, I can get like a new laptop. I'm just deciding which type to get, whether to stay with Apple, whether to get like maybe I was looking at the ZenBooks and I think they look pretty good, because I looked at the fact that it's got the additional touchscreen imagery on the laptop. So I'm hoping that Apple will release something like that towards the year. If it does, then it's most probably I will use that, and then I can obviously download the Adobe packages and really go ham, you know. So yeah, anyway, back to as I was saying. So again, when you're developing the stroke tool, again, each curve is so meticulously careful, you know, and it's just about what you want to show, what you want to highlight, which makes it so. So again, there are times even in the pen tool, you might want to just go a little bit rogue. You know, you might want to sort of go directly on the lines. You can just maybe create your own trajectory style. You know, if you think that something works better, then yeah. Again, like I said, there's no rules to art, and there's no rules to what you're supposed to do. You know, you're in control of your own style. So yeah, sometimes I always have to go back and reference to something I might have seen elsewhere, and I end up sort of taking it from there and then developing it freehand on the computer. So yeah, so I've just obviously done the ear, as you can see. So yeah, if you look closely, each point really, it's more, if you can look at it, the ends are a little bit more blocky, more so, you know, which gives it more of a too much of a strict linear look. So you want to tend to, or at least for me, I like to like make it more curved and make it more sort of genteel. So after that, I would go to the stroke set part. So for example, if you, let's say you want to go to the window and you selected the window tool and you go to where it should say stroke. So where it says there, stroke, goes up there, stroke, right, and it appears there. So on stroke, again, where you want to sort of create that different line, so you highlight as you go to the arrow tool, highlight. In the stroke part, it will give you obviously the dimensions in terms of thickness, 1 point. So let's say if you want to go like 4, for example, it's thickened the line out. But again, we don't want to go there because it's a little bit too thick. So what I want to do is I'll go to brushes in the same path, and I would highlight this part, which is the 3-point round. So 3-point round, and it shows, as you can see, it's a little bit softer than it was before. So before, I had it to, say for example, I had it to the, you can see the difference there. So it's square there, but I want to have it to, so, but I want to, so yeah. So now I'll now put it to the round. So it's got a little bit more of a softer curve feel. So after that, what I want to do is I want to just reduce it down a little bit because it's a bit too thick. So I go into the weight part and I go to 0.5 and it's reduced it down. So it's a little bit more, yeah, that's exactly how I want the style, the line to look. As you can see, this was one I did before. Again, certain part of ways you want to highlight, some you don't have to. And again, this is your art piece. You can do anything you want to. Don't feel like you're in a position to, oh, I've got to follow it this way. No. Please, by all means, when you've got the pad in front of you, by all means, go wild, experiment. You might see something that you see a feature of that works well for you, that you're comfortable with. If it brings out the style you want to, and that's all good. So over the years, you'll find out there's certain images and works that you can say, you know what, I wonder how that would look if I was to sort of almost update it and give it more of a prestige look. So, you know, and nowadays with more packages that are coming to play, I think a lot of people are wanting to say, okay, well, let me experiment more. So yeah. So what else do we do? So if I want to do sort of, again, for the inside part, Again, I might not want to go so much. Let me see. It's just about, normally if you want to group the whole thing, the way you could do it is, for example, if I press, it's hard to actually work when I've got one hand. It's hard to actually work. Let me see. So let me see if I can put it up. So okay, let's see. Right. Let's say I want to group the whole thing. So I would highlight sort of one point of the image, or one point, and as long as you see the 8 squares that are sort of surrounding it, it obviously showcases as highlighting that particular point. And if you want to highlight more points, then it stretches out. Highlight another, and again it widens the whole. So you've selected the parts that you want to accentuate. So I would go again, point, and then I would go to 0, right, and there. Now personally I think it might be a little bit too much, so in these cases, for example, if again, another point is you could go to another line profile. So if we go back, and if I say, okay, I want to go to another section, so the uniformed is the primary line, but if you can go to any different parts and styles of lines, that gives you a large, thin, curved, sharp, different varieties of lines. So in this case, because I might want to just have it highlighted as that, so hopefully when you take it away, hang on, what I need to do is let me reselect it again. I need to head back to the brushes tool, need to highlight basic, go back into stroke, then I need to go to profile, then I need to highlight profile, the curved, and then because it's a bit too small, I need to go to 0.1, and then it should be a bit more sharper. So yeah, so that's how I would do it. Hang on, I might as well change that as well. So right, and yeah, so yeah, so again, you'll be repeating the same process through as you're going through the whole of the lines of the characters, and yeah, that's all I can just keep practicing. And when you do highlight and then choose color, and then you color it in, and then also when coloring it in, obviously you've got your section here where it says layers. It works similar way into like it does with Photoshop. You might want to select a layer to put color, so that at least it doesn't disturb the first layer that you're developing. But obviously by doing that, make sure that what tends to happen, what people get it confused with, is that when they put the color in and they take it off, they forget that they've put the color on a different layer. So always make sure that the layer or the color, wherever you want to, is positioned correctly where you want to. Otherwise, because sometimes you could lead to be a confusing part, and you think to yourself, why isn't that part colored in when it should be? It's all it's about. You can always get in a bit of a muddle there. So well guys, that's all I've got really for now. So yeah, that's all I can do and showcase. So yeah, with that, I am developing something right now. Again, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to keep that a bit of a secret, but it's something that I hopefully will like and that you might look and support. So towards the end of maybe middle of October. I hope to have an announcement of what I've got. And yeah, with that being said, that is it for now. If you like it, please head to the like and tick a like, you know, and yeah, you know, I've never been doing videos is always something that I always found problematic, but hey, you know, you try something out and then see how it works. But yeah, this is all me, this is all organic, and I just want to hopefully develop more and more. So and yeah, I've got other things that I will be putting on as well, something. So, and obviously showcasing the progress of my second issue comic, the K9 Kings 2. If you don't have K9 Kings 1, then please have a look, head to the description, and then go to the website of my I think you go to the website on my page, and it will hopefully have it highlighted there. Okay, so that being said, thank you very much for your time, for your patience, and I hope you've gotten a little something out of it, even if it's just a minuscule. Okay, all right, appreciate it. Thanks guys, peace.